Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Dream Team Tonic podcast, the first one of 2025. Happy New Year to you all. This evening, you're joined by me, Tony, and Ben. All okay, mate? Happy New Year.
How you doing, mate? Happy New Year. Happy New Year, all. Hope you're well.
Yeah, all good. Scott's started the new year with the lurgy, so we missed the deadline stream, unfortunately. I were out at the football. I think you were out of the football as well, so we didn't get a deadline stream in. So this is the first one. Good to be back. I lose track of days on this time of year, so I'm not back work till Monday. So I'm forever asking what day it is. But I believe we're on a Thursday. Looking forward to Gameweek 18. We just had Gameweek 17. And how did you do, Ben? Let's have a look.
Yeah, let's pull it up. 111 points. So my transfers were successful this week. 27 points up on them, only because they took out 2 injured players. Well, I say injured. Well, Bruno Fernandes suspended.
Yeah.
And Saka got that long-term injury, so freed up a lot of money as well.
Yeah.
Trent come in for me, 19 points. Yeah, it's about time he scored a goal. It took a bit of a deflection, but yeah, he was due. And I fancied Liverpool's fixtures, so I brought in Diaz. I know he's a rotation risk, but he can be explosive, and he ended up getting a goal as well. So not too bad with the transfers. I've got Forster in goal, 1 pointer. The swing on that Dubravka Forster transfer is nasty in it, but the fixtures weren't great for either team really. So I'm thinking Forster's going to have those extra games in Europe. And the fixtures turn from, game week 19? So they've got that FA Cup game against Tamworth and then Arsenal away. But then it's like Everton, Hoffenheim, Leicester, Elfsborg. So it does get better. Mazraoui, he stayed in my team because of the injuries. I'm thinking about taking him out now. Gomez, injury. Went off early, so I missed out on the clean sheet there.
Always the trouble with Gomez.
Yeah, it was always that ticking time on it. He's always made a Weetabix, as we say. Timber 3 points, and he's got a suspension now for the next league match.
Yeah.
So one of the questions later is about that. Kulusevski, 8 points. Palmer 4. Isak with a goal. Nice 10-pointer. Salah captain, 42 points. And Haaland 11. Haaland finally scored a goal. I say finally. He ain't been that bad really, has he? It's just because we're used to him scoring so many goals. It's like been a bit of a quiet period for him, but it's not been that bad really, has it?
It doesn't. You just expect so much more. We're expecting him to haul every week. A little bit like what Salah's been doing for the last 5 or 6 weeks. That's what we've come to know Haaland to do.
Yeah.
So it's one of them. You set the expectations that high. That it's what happens. Just the goal, but he'll feel better for that. I don't think he's had much to go off. I think we're chatting on other pod about it, saying, I mean, he's not playing badly. He's not doing anything differently to what he usually does. I know he missed the penalty the other week, but I mean, City have created nothing. They've not been the best, so you never know. I mean, Leicester wasn't the toughest of games. Obviously, with the defensive record as it's been over the last 5 or 6 weeks for them and for yourselves, Ben. It was probably a nice fixture for City to bump into. Obviously, I'm a little bit rusty with this hosting work, seeing as Scott usually takes them answer, but I won't be ignorant. And obviously, we wish you all a happy new year. I'll just give a shout out to a few in the chat. Happy New Year to Michael Hodson, Steve Ricks, Miss Noopy, TS Editor, Ian Curry, FPL Sparta, Nathan Wisby, Abdul Ali, Adam, Phil Harrison, Drizzle, Rick Plant, John Seymour. Happy New Year. Thanks for joining us. If you haven't already, please hit the like. If you want to join the chat, you will have to subscribe to the channel. It's free, so just hit the subscribe button, get notified whenever we go live, whenever our videos come up. The first one, we are live to everyone tonight, so first one 2025. Nice treat for everybody. But we do have a few competitions coming up within the Patreon and the Discord chat. We've got the Patreon Shield, which is free to enter for every Patreon member or YouTube subscriber. And that there's £100 prize and a shield to the winner, £25 a second. We've also got the Second Chance League kicking off this game week as well, which is £20 cash league, £20 entry, which we left on the previous video. I'll try and get them on underneath this video as well in the info for anybody who isn't on Twitter or already in the Discord or the Patreon. So yeah, welcome along. Over to my team again. Captain Wars, 2 weeks running. Salah doing a number on me. Martinez just a 2. Let's see, Porro 6. Estupinian, I didn't know he were going to be out. I don't know whether it was a late call or not. I just obviously see he weren't in the squad when the lineups were announced, which is a little bit annoying because he's been pretty good for me. He's been pretty steady. A good flow of points from him. So it's a shame he missed out. But yeah, so blank from him. Gabriel only the 2. Trent, who I brought in for. Always do this.
Saka?
Yeah, Saka out for Foden and Mbumo out for Trent. So Trent 19. Foden came in. I knew his ownership would be low. And obviously with the game against Leicester, who have been struggling defensively, but it's a nice game for him to get back in the groove. So I'm hoping he could do a bit. But 6 points without a goal isn't too bad. So take the 6. Kulusevski 8. Palmer only the 4. I think that's 2 quiet weeks in a row now for Palmer. It's it's not been great. But he was my captain, so he doubled to 8. Haaland 11, Salah 21, and Isak 10 for goal at Old Trafford. Look good, Newcastle, really good. So yeah, 93 for the week. A small drop, about 120 places, I think, have dropped down. Again, just looking, if the last 2 weeks have kept it sensible. I say sensible. I didn't captain Estupinan, but if I'd have just gone with the crowd or the most popular option, which was Salah twice, I would be doing a bit better. But take these punts. I think when I started taking the punts, I was like 350th, so it's cost me about 500 places. 2 weeks of punting on the captain. But going into this game week 18, obviously the Second Chance League kicks off, the Tonic Cash League. We've got the Patreon Shield kicking off. We've got the actual main game has its Second Chance League kick off this week as well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Which is a 5k prize. So I am going to rein in my wildcard captains, I think, for a few weeks, and play it a little bit more sensible. Stop chasing rank, because I'm going to try and concentrate on trying to get to the top of that leaderboard and win a few quid.
just quickly about that, we were at similar rank about 2 weeks ago, and there's not much in it still. What is it, about 20 points? So, and I went with Salah both weeks. We knew we were going to get. I was going to get. Oh, you had the booster though, didn't you? You had the booster last week. Yeah. I was going to say I knew I was going to drop anyway last week, so I dropped from 250th to 490 something, and then this week I've got another red arrow. Even though I've scored 111 points, 533rd now, so dropped a little bit more, and that's just playing it safe, really. So it's not been much. You haven't been hurt much, really. Obviously, you had the booster last week, but.
It didn't. Yeah, I think the booster just papered a few cracks really because it was such a massive difference in captain like points. So I captained Palmer, it didn't do much. So that in comparison to what Salah did, it was a massive. I think it's been something like 70 or 80 points over the last 2 weeks. It cost me. So I mean that's a huge chunk. If I put them on Salah. Like I would have been up to 250, so I've probably got back up towards 300. But there's a long way to go, half of the season to go, so just gotta. I'm still gonna take punts. I'm always gonna take punts because I don't want to just get a nice rank. I want to try and attack. Obviously, yeah, you've got to play it that way. You get in and amongst the top few hundred, then you got to take a punt to climb that little bit higher. But yeah, I won't be punting with the captains for a good few weeks, but I will still have a few punts in the squad.
Do you not fancy the punt during the FA Cup week on the captain? Because there's probably not many nailed 2 players for 2 games. You know what I mean? Sorry, a player for 2 games.
Yeah, it is going to be a tricky one. You're going to see some stories of some absolute worldies where people have brought in some quite obscure. I know when the draws come out, I said about Harvey Elliott for that Aki game because you're pretty certain he'll play in that front 3 for Liverpool. But there'll be somebody like I don't know, a Louis Diaz who plays both. There'll be somebody like that, and you're gonna see some, like you say, some great, beautiful stories of how well people have done, and you're also gonna see a few horror shows of one of the players they put in don't even play in the FA Cup game, and they completely blank. But yeah, why has anyone tempted you?
Not. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to captain Salah that week, but we'll see. The closer we get, it's a bit far out yet because obviously we don't know any team news for that game week yet. But we'll hear stuff that players are playing certain matches, and then it might pip up the interest in a differential captain.
Yeah. We will see. We'll get into the questions because I'm sure a lot of talk is going to surround that FA Cup week. Obviously, the week coming up, Gameweek 18, with the Carabao. So let's see what we got. It's small. I need to probably start getting some glasses. 1 second. I'm going to get them up on here. Right, first one. DT Patrick. Looking ahead to game week 19, what are your best punt options here, Ben, versus those lowly teams, e.g. Tamworth, Morecambe, Aki Stanley, and would you captain any of your punts versus the danger of knowing you'll need to transfer out the following game week? Pretty much the question you just asked me.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I am interested in possibly getting in a Chelsea player for that Morecambe game, but I want to get someone who will play twice. I don't know if like Felix or Nkunku will play twice, but they could go off in that Morecambe match. Also, you've got the Tamworth game, so Tottenham. So they've got a few options in midfield that possibly will play the second match. So you might get like a Maddison who might play the Tamworth game and then play the Arsenal game, or Johnson or Kulusevski might play both. They're not like players that are likely going to be rotated, really. Like rested for the FA Cup, because the squad's depth ain't that big, really, and they've got lots of injuries. So that could be one. Or and Aki Stanley, Liverpool options. Jota, I think, could be a good one. He might only play one game, but yeah, him like Gakpo. I'm not going for Nunez. I'll stay away from that, because I want to pick players that got possibility of still staying around the team. You know what I mean? They're still going to get minutes in the league as well. They might only get 30 minutes or something, but it might be worth it. What about you?
Yeah, the Tamworth one, obviously with Spurs, does it got me fancy a little bit. Obviously, already having Kulusevski, I think I'm taking Porto out this week. Not completely sure, but they are, like you say, they're one of the most likely. They have struggled a little bit for depth due to injuries and other things. So, yeah. And Ange has promised him a trophy added this season, so he can't really be going weak. Although they are still in the semis of the Carabao, still in Europe. So they do have lots of games to play. But if he's not got the players and he's not going to put a load of youth players in, then you can see like the likes of Maddison getting a couple of games that week. So I don't think I'm going to go too punty. Like you say, I don't think I'm going to put somebody in who I know there's been talk of like an Everton player, or who's the other one? Fulham players.
That's 18.
They are Gameweek 8. They are 18. They've dropped into.
Yeah.
But I'm just thinking the danger with trying to alter your transfers around these FA Cup games are it's so early in the competition, and so for example, someone brings in Nunez because they think he's going to be playing that Aki game. If he doesn't play the Aki game, is Nunez playing the Forest game? No, he's not. He might only get 20 minutes in the Aki game.
Yeah.
And it's just very, very punty. And then it costs you a transfer as well to get him back out the week after. They might get minimal minutes. So I think the way I'm going to look at 19 is I'm going to play it on the lead up into Europe. I'm going to play it I'll be bringing in people who have a nice fixture that week and then into run to Europe. And if somebody like that is a rotation risk, a little bit like Luis Diaz, because he does get rotated quite a lot, he might get 35 minutes in the Aki game and then play the full Notts Forest game.
Yeah.
It's someone like that I'll be looking at more than go full on punt somebody who's nowhere near the squad.
Yeah. What do you think about Man City against Salford? Obviously, we're talking about game week 19 here. Obviously, it's a week away yet. But if City don't have a good result against West Ham, do you think he's going to go, right, we're going to go and try and smash Salford, get some confidence back? Could play some big guns in that match.
I think inevitably there will be a few that survive it. There'll be a few that play. I think that's always been the case with City. He does leave 3 or 4 of the big hitters in, and then but I think it's going to be full of kids.
Could be Savinho and Doku though. They could get minutes?
Yeah. I think they could definitely have a good run, and if you can pick one or the other that might play the Brentford game the same week, then you could be onto a winner.
And then Europe starts the week after.
Yeah, I mean, they are very much. I see Doku and Savinho a little bit like a Diaz. Obviously, not as productive at the minute, but did those that could easily do maybe half in each, or 30 in one game, 60 in the other. So they're the types of players, definitely. Yeah, they're the ones that are on the list, like to look out for, in my view.
Yeah, and also like Newcastle, they've got lots of options, and obviously you got a double game week this week as well. You could it could be like a Joe Ellington or Bruno Guimaraes or someone like that who could do well in the cup.
Yep. Again, you're guessing with Newcastle, aren't you? Because he has got a few options on the bench that'll come in. It's
They've got Bromley.
There will be a few that survive. It is nailing it. There'll be some people, you'll see some crazy scores. You'll see some nice moments from some people that have got lucky. Obviously, you do a little bit of thought behind it, but if you choose, is it Bruno going to play or is Tonali going to play? Probably one of them will play.
Yeah,
but we will not know until that team sheet's out, and by then, obviously, the deadline's gone. So
I bet Harvey Barnes scores in that Bromley game.
Yeah, I mean, you'd expect, obviously, because Murphy's been playing, hasn't he? Murphy's been getting plenty of minutes at the minute, so you'd expect Barnes to play that Bromley game, and he'd probably get some minutes against Wolves.
Yeah, probably 20 minutes or something.
Yes, I mean, Barnes isn't a bad punt. But again, you then move on to the 20. Europe kicks in, and you are going to be wanting to punt him straight back out. And I know there's quite a few teams now are quite heavy. Newcastle, there's a lot of Lewis Halls, Gordons, Isaks knocking about that will need moving on as we go towards game week 20.
Yeah. No,
or not in some case, because if you end up like say with Timber this week, getting the suspension, the Gomez injury, you had Fernandez last week. Things are Saka injury as well. Things are fired having to be put out. At some set, so you might end up having to hold.
Yeah, that's the thing when you go for these punts, you might end up with a couple of suspensions or injuries, and then you've got to hold the single game week players through.
Yeah, so you always have to look past. And to be fair to Newcastle, they got Bournemouth and Southampton, 2 singles. They're not the worst games to hold.
Yeah.
In the world, but just always have that in the back of your mind.
Yeah.
Moving on to Mammoth, Fulham have a nice double game week. Do you like any of their midfielders? What do you reckon about the midfield, Ben?
There's no wow midfielders there for me, but Iwobi seems to be the one that's doing the best. He's been getting quite a few goals and assists lately. Obviously, it's a double game week for Fulham, Ipswich and Watford at home. So I think if you're going to go there, just one player. I wouldn't put 2 in, because the week after they've got a single, and then everyone else has got a double. So yeah, obviously you got Andres Pereira's on some set pieces, and Smith Rowe's just come back, but he's another one that's made of Weetabix, so he could only play one game.
He's always just come back, hasn't he? He's always just come back.
Yeah. Probably prefer the defender, Robinson, out of all the Fulham options. but he didn't play in any of the Carabao Cup games, if I remember this season. So he might not play in the cup because it's only Watford at home in the cup. So I know it's not the easiest game, but they are a championship side.
Yeah, same with Awobi. Awobi come on for 13 minutes and 12 minutes in both the Carabao Cup games. So, and with it being an early round, I'd watch out for that. I mean, he's not got a bad fixture against Ipswich. He's picking up bonus points, Awobi. He is good for that. But yeah, he's not one I'd look at. He's not one I'd punt on. But I remember last season I did Jimenez as a punt, and he's been on fire recently as well. I punted on him last year on a double, and he got sent off in first game.
Yeah.
But he played 90 minutes of the first game at Carabao. But he did all right, and then I think he seemed to become the number one choice. He only played 5 minutes in the second Carabao Cup game, and obviously he has been on fire from recently. So
that Muniz is there, though. That's the thing. I just think
he'll be rested. Yeah, I like the fixtures. I like the fixtures for Fulham. I just don't think you're going to get a double. Unfortunately.
Yeah, you see the fair choice striker is Fulham.
Is it Vinicius?
Yeah. Remember,
is he still there?
Remember we said, he scored a hat trick. We said, he'd probably score a hat trick against Marine when he played for Tottenham, and he did, didn't he?
Did he not get 4?
I don't know. I thought it was 3. You might be right.
Absolutely smashed them.
Yeah, you might be right.
Right. Rest of Mammoth's questions. I have Gomez, Robinson, and Timber in my defence. Would you replace Gomez with Trent or do a different move? Budget of 5.8 mil. That's enough to get Trent.
Yeah.
And I just do it. Yeah. Gomez to Trent. Don't even think about it. Get him in. No thought needed. Don't look elsewhere.
Yeah.
Kai is saying, hold the likes of Palmer and Haaland if the rest of your team is on a double game week and roll a transfer, or attack the double game week with 11 players with possible rotation. Obviously, that's touching on the fact that you've got City and Chelsea assets this week. They're not in the Carabao Cup semis, but you've got a lot of big hitters that are. Would you move them out to fill your team with double game week at the risk of obviously the week after having to put out a few other different players?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Not sure if you're happy with your 11. I mean, it's hard because can't see your team, but if you're happy with 11, you could hold them through. But I was looking at this is the problem with Palmer is he can just go off and score 30, 40 points in a game, even when he's got a single game week. And I was looking at the fixtures coming up. If you wanted to look longer term into February, Palmer's probably only going to play 5 games in the next 5 game weeks. But you could get someone from like Tottenham, Arsenal, Liverpool who could play 10 games over that period. Obviously, they might get the odd rest, but I can't see Palmer playing in the FA Cup next week. Yeah. So that's a single this week, single that week. Then Europe's on when the Conference League's finished now till the playoffs, which starts in February. So he's got no doubles until game week 25. So it's one of them things again. It's just he's so highly owned. He's 99.3% owned in the top 1K, 99% owned in the top 100, and 69% over that whole game. So it's a risky one. Some people will do it, but yeah, I'm not sure.
It's whether you get away with it, isn't it? Like you say, someone who's
nice as
explosive.
well for him. Even the singles.
I think. I mean, obviously Chelsea have been going good. They've hit a few bumps in the road last couple of weeks. I don't think it'd be a question about him. Obviously, with his high ownership, and if he'd put a few away last couple of weeks, I don't think you'd be even tempted. Like it's a little bit like holding Haaland through his goal drought, like 3 games. These are players that can do the big damage to your rank. So if they're that highly owned, I'd keep them. Some people might, like you said, drop them out, and they might get away with it. I've captained Palmer the last couple of weeks, and it's cost me. But I'm shifting that captaincy on this week, and he's going to go mental. It just happens. So to answer your question, I'm keeping Palmer and Haaland, but I'm not doing it. I've got other things to sort out. Obviously, if you've got 9 double game weekers, you must have a decent team. Go where you go. But you're the thing is, with Haaland, you're definitely going to want him back because Europe kicks off straight away.
Yeah.
Palmer, like I say, the European games are so far away, and does he even get put into the European squad? He might not.
Yeah.
So you're singling for a long time with Palmer.
Yeah, it's Gameweek 26 is when the first leg of the round of 16 starts, because Chelsea are not in the playoffs because they're already through.
Yeah, crazy. And another thing with Haaland, obviously, is City are looking likely that they will be in that first round of fixtures in the Champions League, whereas Arsenal and possibly Liverpool and possibly Arsenal won't. So,
yeah,
want to keep in mind. I keep Haaland in.
Yeah, I reckon he might play that Salford game. He might get half a match or something.
Get his all his anger out.
Yeah.
I don't think he's been playing bad. I know he missed that penalty, but I don't think he's been that bad.
Pickford would say he saved the penalty.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I get annoyed at our goalkeeper. He didn't miss it, did he? Because Pickford dived the other way. What a great finish. DT Phillip. Out of Foden, Dinlet, and Mbeumo, which 2 would you transfer out for Gameweek 18?
Definitely Dinlet. Yeah, Dinlet, and then it's a tricky one because short term, Mbeumo's got Southampton this week, and then he's got the possible Plymouth Man City double game week next week, both at home. He has been resting Mbeumo in the cups, but I think he played in the last game, didn't he? In the last round, they ended up going out. But then Foden, he's got a home fixture against West Ham, and then he goes into possible playing Salford, Brentford, Ipswich, PSG, Chelsea, Bruges. So it's could be a player that you want to bring back in a week or two. So yeah, it might be one where you keep Mbeumo this week, and then you could move him onto Foden in a few weeks, do a little daisy chain. So yeah, I'm not too sure at the minute. Longer term, obviously, it'll save you a transfer if you just keep Foden.
Yep, exactly what I've got down here. Foden's the long-term option. And Mbeumo's got a lovely fixture this week. Yeah, I think you've nailed it pretty much, Ben, there. Depends how precious that transfer will be to you.
Yeah.
Which you won't know until the following week when you've got 2 players injured.
Yeah.
Just following up he's got a question too as well. Depending on who you would take out, who would you bring in? He's already got Timber and Trent in defence, and Kulu and Palmer in midfield. I've got Billet to Hall and Boomo to Diaz, because if it were my choice, I took Boot and Boomo out last week for Fordham for the exact reason that Fordham was a punty 1 week option if he went off against Leicester, but I knew I'm going to want that coverage of City through all the European games. So
yeah, I've gone for Gabriel or Van Dijk. I just think their fixtures are quite good. I think I'm probably more siding towards Gabriel, even though he probably won't get a price rise this week, and Van Dijk will. But it's because they've got the harder fixture in the FA Cup. He's probably going to play 2 games this week. In 19. So that's why I'm possibly siding towards that. I'm not sure yet. And the midfielder, definitely Diaz for me. Just his ceiling is so high. I know you might miss 1 or 2, but it's just a great player to have in your team.
Yeah, as well, now with obviously Liverpool going into 18, you've got doubles all the way through January, the first week of Feb. You have got max fixtures from Liverpool. So even if he does get rotated a little bit, he will come on in games you'd expect. I know there's a few games where he hasn't had to, but because they've been pretty prolific, Liverpool really are looking like a decent side. So moving on to Conk. Best fourth midfielder for Gameweek 18 already has Palmer and Boomo, Kulusevski. So again, we've just said him, Conk. It's Diaz. I think we're unanimous on that, me and Ben. Obviously, Ben brought him in last week. I think I'm bringing him in this week. So, I think he's one to have. Ian Curry, player we don't talk about too much. Would you take out Dan Burn for next week's double game week for someone like Diaz and then go back to a 3-4-3?
Yeah.
Dan Burn to Diaz. I think that's an all-dayer, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Not the best defensive fixtures for Newcastle this week, but I think Diaz is more explosive than Dan Burn. So I'd do that move, yeah.
Yeah. One in from Grommers. A little bit tongue-in-cheek here, I think, but leave the captaincy on Salah until he retires. I mean, he has become a bit of a set and forget at the minute, hasn't he?
Yeah, like I said, in Game Week 19, I'm definitely thinking about going somewhere different. I think I'm going to go Salah this week at the moment, yeah. And then Game Week 19, I'm going to just see. Well, another thing as well, Game Week 19 is the deadlines on the Friday, the Villa West Ham games on the Friday. So you could maybe go for like a Watkins. He's got West Ham at home, which you think would go strong in that game, and Everton away. So you could get a double game week out of someone like that.
Yeah.
Rodgers will be back in the squad if you dare, but I don't think I'd dare captain Rodgers. Rodgers is suspended for this game week.
Yeah. Fresh for a double next week then.
Yep. And then Europe starts again for Villa, so they've got double game weeks all the way through. And is it Duran might be getting a bigger suspension? Is that right?
I'm not too sure. I know it used to be that if you appealed it and failed,
you got
then they
3
would
games.
extend the ban. Right. And it used to be if you did appeal it and it fell through and they refused it, they used to add on to it. I don't know whether that's still the case though. Obviously
that's what
rules
happened.
change all the time.
He's already played one game, hasn't he? So he's got 2 more league games, and then the Champions League starts anyway. So Duran will be out playing them games. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
That's in Gameweek 20 yet.
Yeah, Rodgers is probably more nailed, weirdly. But I tell you what, though, he's been impressive, Rodgers. Looking a cracking player. Right, I'm going to leave you with this goalkeeper question, Ben, because as it goes when it's live, and I'm drinking a few tins, I need to have a quick piss.
Right.
But I'm not one for goalkeepers anyway. You know what I'm like. Either play without a goalkeeper or it's set and forget for me. Stephen W. has asked, goalkeeper question. I feel slightly burnt on the Forster Dubravka swing, which I've heard about. But not very nice. After selling Saka, most will have spare funds. Do you see a standout goalkeeper or should I stick with the Forster roller coaster? Just bear in mind that for me, I've just had Martinez for quite a while now. And he's been going up and down. He's been doing worldies and then doing nothing for 2 weeks. It's one of them. But I'll just leave you that 1 second, mate.
Yeah, I'm the same. I went for Forster, and obviously it's burnt me now. But I was looking at it, and I'd probably, if you had nothing else to do, I probably would be interested in changing the goalkeeper. For me, it have to be Raya. He seems to be nailed in all the cup competitions. Obviously, the last round they played, is it Brentford they played in the cup? I can't remember now. But he played the last game. I did check before. And Alisson will rotate with Kelleher. He's the other goalie I like. But yeah, I was looking at the back at the points over the last few game weeks, from game week 14 to now, and Forster's got 19 points, and Dubravka's only got 33 points. So it's not a lot of difference really, and it's not a lot of points. So it's not a priority for me. If I had nothing else to do in my team, and obviously there's a bit of money there now with Saka being injured and Bruno Fernandes not being in your team, I'd definitely be interested in bringing in Raya, but it's not a priority. And obviously later on when, say, Bruno Fernandes for me could be an option from, where is it? Game week 19. So they've got Arsenal away in the Cup and Southampton at home, and then it's Brighton, Rangers, Fulham, and Steaua Bucharest, all double game weeks. So you might need the money again there. So, and obviously he's a talisman of United. Obviously not looking too good at the minute, but they could turn it around. Football's a funny game. Next week they could be playing really well. So, like a few weeks ago, they were all raving about Ahmad, weren't they? So, I mean, yeah. So, just be wary of spending your money. Depends how much budget you've got. But if you've got loads of money, Raya for me is the best keeper to bring in.
Yep. I just, with the Saka money, obviously, if you were making the move, and spreading them Saka funds out, bear in mind that if obviously you don't have the biggest budget, you are then going to put your money into a few other players. And when Saka comes back, you're gonna struggle to get him back in. So just be wary of that, because although obviously the swing between Forster and Dubravka was big in the terms of their points, like say what was it, like 30 points, 25 points. It's not a lot of points over the course of time. It's not a lot of points in the grand scheme of things. And the difference between starting the game with Saka and having a Iwobi, and Saka scored 90 and Iwobi scored 10. It's not the biggest. If you can have the cheapest doubling goalkeeper, I think just go with it. But yeah, Raya is the best option if you've got the funds. If you've managed to build your funds well, stick him in and just leave him there, which is what I've done with Martinez, to be fair. And I think he'll stay there until Villa stop having doubles after Europe if they go out. So
Yeah, he's another one that plays every game. So yeah, decent.
Yeah, I think at the time I had the choice between Martinez and Raya because the rotation with the other goalkeepers. But yeah,
Money was tight then, wasn't it? So you went
it
for
was a bit tight. I did go with a bit cheaper. I think Raya back then were like 5 million as well. He went up straight away, like flew up. So yeah, tricky. Aman, resident Aman Tattler, evening mate. Is it time to get rid of Timber? So I went Gabriel, my last move. Was tempted by Timber, but obviously he has picked up a yellow card, which gives him the 5 yellow cards and gives him a rest this week at Brighton. You've got him in your team, Ben.
Yeah.
What do you think, mate?
At the moment, he's not going anywhere for me. I've got Mazraoui and I've got Gomez to sort out. So they look like the players that are going to be coming out for me. Mazraoui's playing Liverpool this week, and Timber's still got the Newcastle game in the Carabao Cup semi-final. So it's not blanking, so it's not that bad. And then they go on a run of double game weeks with Europe and FA Cup and that. So he can stay there for now for me. But if it's the only problem in your team, I mean, you could move Timber on to Gabriel or Saliba or something, or a Liverpool defender and get a double that way. If that's your problem, if you've got no other problems in your team, I don't mind that. But yeah, he can stay there for me because obviously I've got other things to do.
I think Timber's that player where you're going to want him back pretty much straight away because he's attacking, he's doing well points wise. So I was looking at it like over the next 4 games, he'll play 3 of them, I reckon. I think he'll play the Carabao Cup, and then I think he'll do the double in 19.
Yeah.
So then if you compare that to, I don't know, a Liverpool, let's say Trent, I think Trent will play 3 games.
Yeah.
If you do have no other fires whatsoever, it could be worth jumping from Timber to a Trent or to a Van Dijk or whatever, and then jumping back in 19 because Timber will probably play both United and Tottenham. But bear in mind that if you have a couple of injuries, suspensions, then it's gonna leave you a little bit short, maybe. But the thing is, as well, you could take him out and he could do a really nice haul against Newcastle, and that's the trouble. And he's someone who you're going to want to get back in. The only thing going for it, for taking him out, would be the fact that he's probably going to go down in price this week. So if you do hop off him, and then he does have a good game against Newcastle, you'd avoid his price drop and then possibly get him on a nice price rise the week after. So it could save you 0.6 or 0.4 in a budget as well. So it's always an option.
Yeah.
But yeah. More goalkeeper questions. Then Raya versus Allison. Raya more likely to play the cup games. Kelleher likely plays Carabao and FA Cup. I think you nailed it in the last one, didn't you? About Raya. Obviously, Allison is that massive rotation risk with Keller, who, to be fair, probably I know he made a bit of a boo-boo, but he was doing so well for him. I think he's proved that he's probably capable of being the number one at any club in Premiership, to be honest. Right, C-Tobs. Best striker for Gameweek 18 double. He's too stubborn to put Isak in now after missing all of his points. Know the feeling when a player does that to you. Who's reckon, Ben? Who have you got? have you got in store for him?
It's I mean, you got even if you've missed all them points, you just got to forget that and just look at the fixtures now. And he's on fire. It was 8 goals in 6 games this month. I'd still look at putting him in probably. But if you didn't want to go there, you could look at Watkins maybe. Single game week this week against Leicester at home. And then he's got 19. I think he'll definitely play the double in 19. We've got West Ham and Everton. And then obviously Europe starts after that. The only thing that in 20, he might only play 1 or 1.5 games with Duran back. But yeah, maybe a Liverpool player, maybe a Gakpo or a Jota. But yeah, I think Isak's the best because he's just nailed, didn't he? 90-minute man, 2 games. Best option.
What about, we've got him on me, not so much as a pun, Jesus, 3.9 million.
Yeah.
He's going to play both games, isn't he?
You'd think so, but he's not a talisman, is he? He's just one bad game away from being benched again or something. I know that they're down to the bare bones in a minute, so probably will play. It's just it's worth the risk if you want to go for it. He's probably the best one.
Yeah, someone like you say with Isak, he's going to play both games. So if you didn't want to go Isak, that's how you feel. You think he's due a bad week, then I don't know, maybe Jesus, who's stepping up to the plate, it seems, in the absence of Saka and forcing his way really into that Arsenal team, forced Havertz out of position to drop back. Yeah, I don't mind Jesus. If I didn't already have Isak, I think as my third striker, I will put in Jesus this week as a punt. I say a punt; it's not a punt, an Arsenal striker, but obviously he's had a slow start to his life at Arsenal, but playing Crystal Palace back to back seems to have reinvigorated him.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's who I would go for. Subs. Solo Higgins is timbering okay to hold through his suspension. I think we touched on that. Solo, I think it depends what else you got going on your team, but you could avoid the price drop and bring him back in next week if you still wanted him. You know, all sorts of options there, but he's obviously an asset you want further down the line, so play it accordingly. I can't, bloody eyes, I can't see that purple. Is it J Baker?
J Baker, yeah, 256.
J Baker, right? So, not sure whether to take out Mazraoui and Johnson for Saliba and Kulu, or Mazraoui and Boomo for Trent and Kulu. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I'd definitely take out Maz, obviously. Mazraoui. Johnson, I'm quite interested in bringing him in this week, so I won't be taking him out because I think he's one of them players that gets minutes in every match, and he's obviously not the talisman. So yeah, he might only get 70 minutes here, 60 there, but that Tamworth game next week, he could get a lot of minutes in that match, and he could go off. He's been scoring goals for fun this year, so I wouldn't sell him. So yeah, probably have to be Mbeumo. Obviously not ideal with him playing Southampton, but Southampton seem to have tightened up since the new manager's come in. So maybe it's not that easy of a match. They might score a few goals, but yeah, I think longer term, probably better keeping Johnson, and then obviously you can get Trent if you do the other one. And Trent's a great player to have over this period.
Yeah. And Boom will be magic on this game if he had doubles.
Yeah.
He scores really well, doesn't he? But yeah. Keith Johnson in the hope that because you'll get minutes this double, and then he's going to be playing that Tamworth game, isn't he? Pretty sure.
Yeah. If it's like FPL, you'd go, I'll keep Mbeumo all day, wouldn't you? Because he's talisman penalties. But
yeah,
Dream Team with these FA Cup matches, European games, you've got to take advantage of the extra games.
Yeah, you have to try and maximise minutes. That's what we always talk about: maximising fixtures, maximising minutes on the pitch. Obviously, sometimes it pays off. Well, most of the time it will pay off having the maximum minutes. That's how it works. But you can have these odd ones where it goes against the grain. But yeah, I definitely Mazraoui out. So it's looking at like Mazen and Boomo for Trent and Kulu, which isn't really bad, is it? It's not a bad two to bring in that 2 on 4 players. I think that brings the questions to a close. I'll just try and dig a few out of the chat, just for the people that have been joining us live. Steve Ricks, a quick one there, Ben. How many years have all three of you been playing Dream Team for? I didn't really take much notice of it until I started watching you guys. I think we're very similar, aren't we, Ben?
Yeah, I don't know. Long time now. How long have you been playing?
Well, I remember writing them out in the actual Sun paper and sending them off.
Yeah,
I mean that's I were young, so I used to do it with my dad. Probably from about 12-year-old, I'd say. So what?
yeah,
25 years.
Yeah, it's got to be 20 odd years. Playing it properly though, I'd say about 10 years. Playing it, online and that. But yeah, before it was all in the paper, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You have to, every time, like, is a Dream Team in the paper this week or today? Because it sometimes it wasn't in the paper and it was a nightmare.
Yeah. Trying to get them 7 ratings.
Yeah, good old days.
My player got a 7. Has my player got a 7? Right. Obviously, Scott's not well, so Rick Plant putting Diaz and McAllister in from Liverpool. What are your thoughts, please? Do you know what? I was tempted a little bit by McAllister last week. Got a couple of goals. Slobozlai was out. So thinking he could be even more forward. Is he going to fill in that role? Good player. What do you think of putting him in for that double United and Spurs?
Yeah, he's like one of them players that ticks along nicely, doesn't he? Usually gets about 5 points a game. He has been doing really well the last few game weeks. He's got a couple of 11s in there. But yeah, he's a decent option. Especially, I think he should get 2 games this week. Obviously, he takes set pieces as well. So he can get an assist, score a free kick or whatever. So yeah, decent.
Yeah, I agree.
We've hammered Diaz tonight. Definitely, Diaz is a great transfer.
Yeah. I mean, you probably put like McAllister in the same bracket as maybe Declan Rice, who just ticks along, picks up these points, goals now and again, assists now and again. Yeah, good player. John Seymour, Timber for Trent, Havertz for Jota. However, I'm tempted for Palmer out as a single game week. Have Diaz, Kulu, Odu in midfield already. What's your thoughts? There's quite a bit of hate going around for Odegaard. It's a waste of money. A little bit at the minute. What do you reckon, Ben?
Yeah, normally I'd say double game week players all the way, but Palmer's just. I just think Palmer's still probably a better option than Odegaard, even though he's got 2 games. The Trent Timber move, definitely. If that's the only defender you need to get rid of, you've got to get Trent in there, I think. Havertz for Jota. Yeah, Havertz dropped back now into midfield, hasn't he? So I'm not sure. Maybe not. No, I'm not sure on Jota this week. I'm probably more interested in for next week when he might get minutes against Accrington Stanley. He will get minutes. And he can score within 20 minutes. It's not a bad option. It's just not great, is it? Like waiting for your player to come on and stuff like that. And
yeah,
another one made a Weetabix.
yeah. I mean, Havertz were out ill, weren't he? Against Brentford, so it's probably not hearing much around it or whether he'll be back. I'd probably just go Havertz to Jesus because I think he plays. And Timber for Trent, like Ben says, if you've got no other issues in your defence, then yeah, get Trent in. Drizzle tempted to kick out Palmer this week. I mean, do it at your peril kind of thing. It's always a risky one. It can pay off, but you don't need the budget. He's probably one of the most explosive single game week players you can kick out. And you see what happened to Crystal Palace. Jesus put him to the sword. Is it not Cole Palmer's turn? Bexy, I have Castagna and Trent. 9 million in the bank. What third defender you recommend? I think Vardiol's Bowen is out. City look like they're improving in a good fixture run. I did write that in my article about Vardiol, and as soon as you get that sniff of City are back, Vardiol is going to be, people will be clambering for him. Do you jump on early? I wouldn't with the single this week. But it'd be somebody that going into 19 or 20, I'd definitely be looking at. What do you reckon, Ben?
Yeah, I agree. I was looking at the fixtures before and I'm thinking he's going to be one I want back in eventually. But I don't see, I don't think, what did he say? City looking like they're improving. I think Leicester were the better team on Saturday. With a snap, what do you call it? Against the run of play they scored. That's definitely the second goal anyway. But yeah, City will get better. We've been saying that for a few weeks now, haven't we? But they've got unbelievable players. They can't go on all season struggling. I think they'll come good at some point in the near future. Probably be against West Ham, where we've just been tonked 5 by Liverpool. So
yeah.
But
it's not the game you want, really, is it? After getting smashed by Liverpool, but
yeah, for me, I think the third defender between like Van Dijk, Gabriel, something like that. Just because the fixtures are decent for them, good defensive teams. But you like you mentioned Lewis Hall before, didn't you?
Yeah, I think he's been unbelievable. I started the season with him in my team, and obviously he's been moved on when you get to European games, etc. I've never really took much notice since. I know Newcastle went on a bit of a crap run, but they've certainly improved for a good few weeks now. They really are playing well, Newcastle. And then when I watched him the other night against United, I mean, the positions he was taking were unbelievable. Like he's playing. When we look at like Vardiol as being this like attacking left back defender that is grabbing the goals, Lewis Hall was in the box most of the time. It'd be a strange thing how many touches he had right up that end of the pitch. But and then you go back to his points, the last 5 games for Lewis Hall. Obviously, he got me interested. Him and Gordon, to be fair, I thought Gordon had a good game as well. But then he's got me interested. I've looked back, and his last 5 games he's had 11 points, 9 points, 8 points, 9 points, 18 points. I mean, that's unreal. Unreal scores. That's up there with like he's knocking on a Trent Alexander-Arnold scores, if he can keep them going. Obviously, bringing him in this week, I do know he's got a double. I doubt he'll play the Bromley game because of how well he is playing. I think that's kind of the way it works. But I'd possibly be happy just to hold him for that 19 and that one game against Wolves, and then he would be a player that, if I've got other things to do, I wouldn't mind just having him in my side. So I think he is kind of a long-term pick, even though he might turn out to be a short-term pick. If that makes any sense.
Yeah. The single games are good for Newcastle as well, aren't they? Bournemouth at home and Southampton away.
Yeah.
And then obviously they double again in 22 with the Fulham and Arsenal Carabao Cup second leg semi-final.
Yeah, so it's not the worst carry-through.
Yeah.
But again, obviously, we're not telling you to carry him through. It's obviously you could have somebody who doubles 20 and 21, then bring him back in for the... It's just whether you get through with suspensions, injuries, etc.
Yeah, and in 20 and 21, if Arsenal aren't qualified, but Liverpool are, aren't they? They're through. So they might go, right, Van Dijk, rest, Trent, rest in the Champions League. And then you're not going to gain on... Hull, they're not going to gain on Hull, are they, there? So you might get away with it, like...
Yeah, dude. So I wrote, didn't I, that Liverpool had qualified. They all, like, it's something like 0.01% chance they don't go through. Yeah. It's something crazy happening that they can't qualify. So yeah, they are at the risk of rotating in those games. And probably another reason I moved for Foden early, just to make sure I've got that coverage, because City really do need to put their ideas up, need to get a few results in Europe as well as the league. So I can see that they need to go strong, and they need a bit of continuity. Get a few wins on the board back to back, and then go from there. So what? In fact, there's two teams here. We'll have a quick one. Stuart Johnson, Dubravka, Saliba, Gomez, Timber, Trent, Palmer, Kulusevski, Diaz, Isak, Haaland, Salah. 4 million in the bank. He's thinking Gomez to Van Dijk and Timber to Gordon.
Yeah, I like the moves. Can't argue with them.
Yeah, definitely. Gordon, again, like I said, Gordon looked really good. Looked really good against United. Sean Barber, Timber, Shaw, and Rodgers all got their 5th yellow card. Looking at bringing Gabriel and Gordon in for Shaw and Rodgers and holding Timber.
Yeah.
Again. Yeah, I would not argue against it.
Yeah, definitely right moves. If Shaw and Rodgers will be blanking anyway, and Timber will get the cup match against Newcastle.
Yeah, that's the one. Sensible move. Pickles and Brie. My team is Martinez, De Ligt, Vardio, Timber, Gordon, Diaz and Bumo, Palmer, Kulu, Salah and Isak. No Haaland. Looking to sell Bumo and De Ligt to get Haaland back in, and Castanien. Does that seem like an okay move? I'm guessing is it a bit for budget that, and Bumo and De Ligt to Haaland. I don't mind Castagne.
Yeah.
Obviously, decent fixture against Ipswich. Whether he plays the Watford game, we don't know. But then
he's probably more likely to play than Robinson, isn't he?
I'd say so. I'd say so. I didn't have a look back to see what he did in the Carabao, but yeah, they don't seem like bad moves at all to get Haaland back in. He could do West Ham a bit of damage, to be fair. Gareth Sanders, Gordon, Odegaard, or Martinelli to fetch in for Rodgers for this week?
I think Gordon. But yeah, you'd think an Arsenal midfielder, really, wouldn't you? But Gordon's been on fire. Odegaard's not quite done it since he's come back from injury. And Martinelli's just started scoring when I took him out of my team.
Yeah.
But he's not really excited. He's not really doing anything in the matches, Martinelli, is he? He's just nicked a goal in the last match. Yeah, I think Gordon's the one.
It is a more explosive watch, Gordon, and to be fair, Tottenham like to play basketball, football, don't they? So,
yeah,
I mean, that really could play into Gordon's hands with that pace on the counter and stuff. So, yeah, be an exciting watch that game, I think. I'd go with Gordon. Daniel Fox, I'm stuck with Son. Would you keep if you had him? Need to take Rodgers and Mazraoui out.
Yeah. I probably would, because if Rodgers and Maz is going to get battered, I can't see United getting anything against Liverpool. I think there's
a high chance he picks up a minus score.
Unless he gets loads of tackles. But yeah, I think Son's not been doing that good, but I think the other two are more a priority to sort out. Son's got a double game week this week.
Yep, I agree. And that is that. Quick run through the leagues, mate.
Yep.
Go on, do you want to start with the Tonic Tag Team League?
Yeah, can do. In third place, Paul McNulty and Fergie. Second place, our very own Scott Harris and Connor Story. And top, S. Maxwell and A. Gregory.
And the Dream Team Tonic Cash League. Third, Sarah Powell. Second, Scott Harris. And first, Jay Godwin. 2-3-4. Monster score.
And the Patreon members only Cash League, we've got Lee Giles third, S. Powell second, and Jacko Miles top.
Yeah, well played. Well played, everyone. Again, obviously quite a few competitions starting this weekend. The Patreon Shield, the Second Chance League, and the overall Second Chance League through the official Dream Team League. Patreon.com/Dream Team Tonic. The links are all down in the description of the pod. If you want to join us, support the podcast, support us, guys. Then obviously you get free entry to our leagues and other stuff. You get the Discord access, Ben's fixture ticker, our articles once a month, differentials each week. There's lots going on there, and a great community. We've got last year's winner in there, Jeff Hannell. Big shout out to him. And we've got a hell of a lot of good managers in there, which is a cracking soundboard for everyone to bounce off. It's been nice to do this tonight, open to YouTube, open to Twitter, and get it out live to everybody. First one of the new year. We didn't want to have to leave it too late and not get across to everybody before the deadline on Saturday. Big game on Saturday, Blackburn Burnley. So we all be cheering on the blue and white halves. I know we've got a few Burnley followers.
You're going to keep your nut down. Keep your nut down.
Keep your nut down, Mike. But yeah, hopefully Scott's better for the next one. And yeah, thanks for your support. It's appreciated, and we'll speak to you shortly. Best of luck.
Cheers, everyone. Thanks a lot. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.